Hello and welcome to this video. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that this content is also available on my free interactive website, but more on that later. We imagined a character who wanders down an alleyway and finds himself lost in a different world. The aim was to gradually stylize the shots until we reached a point of ultimate abstraction. I made the realistic shots in Unreal Engine, but the feedback I was getting from my team was make them more English. The design lacked the sense of place and identity that you'd find in the details of a real street. The solution? Use a real street. I used a photo scan from Sketchfab, which I combined with my own scans and models. I paid close attention to the camera angle for each shot, first establishing the environment with a wide shot showing the realism of the space. When the tone changes and the character becomes inquisitive, the camera angle changes also, using an unnaturally low camera angle to show the unrealism which awaits. We used an AI application called Switchlight Studios to generate roughness and normal maps for the green screen footage. I was amazed at how using Unreal Engine combined with AI software, I was able to make a photoreal recreation of a space. Using photogrammetry, I was able to embed that space with an identity. It's like a snapshot of time at a specific place. And using filmed footage, I was able to bring that snapshot to life. The primary gameplay mechanic was allowing the player to control the sun, allowing light into the spaces, prompting plants to grow. I programmed the E and Q keys to rotate the sun, but we wanted to help the player find the sun's position. I first added a 3D object to a widget, which rotated with the player's input. This was an imperfect solution, as it wouldn't always point towards the sun. The design was improved upon by my teammate through a sundial added to the first-person blueprint. This sundial was the perfect fit for the wider aesthetic of an ancient ruin. I was tasked with curating the project, applying the Houdini script to the levels and laying out the assets and blueprints. This was a time-consuming process, as the Houdini script could take 10 minutes just to open, and the blueprints had to be placed one at a time. We wanted the gameplay to feel like a journey through the architectural layers of an ancient civilization. To get the most out of the levels we'd designed, I tried to combine them to form new levels. Additionally, I added a water material, sound effects, and player prompts in a font reminiscent of ancient runes. To begin with, we tried to stream the levels, but in the end I used a camera fade to transition between them. Due to the nature of collaboration and unpredictability of Houdini, it was challenging to make sense of the level's layouts. For example, designing the exit to level 3 as here was a very different thing to finding it during a playtest. Despite being the one to lay out the blueprints, program the sun controls, and set the sprint speed, it was still a struggle to solve each level. We wanted to give the player agency by developing a range of mechanics, thereby enriching their experience with novelty and variety. This was a balancing act, as say increasing the sprint speed might make it possible to complete level 2, but mean you can completely bypass the mechanics on level 1. Only by playing the game could I understand the space, and mechanics required to traverse it. Because I hadn't designed the levels, assets, or primary blueprints, I became the game's first player. As I played the game, I understood it, and as I understood it, I designed it. For example, these structures are just meaningless shapes, until you add vines, which let you reach them, turning them into balconies. We wanted to subvert the player's sense of scale, shrinking them down to view the world from a new perspective. However, as the game ends, their sense of scale is again subverted, making them realize the entire space was miniature all along. Initially, we planned on using filmed footage for the final subversion, unveiling it from behind a curtain, making the player realize the studio space was miniature as well. We thought that the obviously 2D footage would break the immersion, so instead, I rigged and animated some hands. They slowly descended on the player to pull them up and out of a box. Our game challenges the player's perception of their physical environment by changing their scale. However, it also challenges their perception of their technological environment through the story and gameplay. Contemporary life has distanced us from technology. For all we know, your TV might function through the services of a tiny person. In our game, this is the case. While designing the janitor, I also designed the objects around his apartment, opting for an elderly man added to the mystery of the space, with his implied life and backstory prompting questions in the player about the length of time the TV has been there. I designed him in Character Creator, then edited his material file so I could upload him to Mixamo, where I could download a variety of animations to bring the character to life. Our game alters the player's perspective on and perception of our studio space. In order to provide this new perspective, we first had to recreate the studio space digitally. I started by flipping tables and chairs from around the studio and checking for product codes. I then found the 3D models online. It took some cleaning up to make them game ready, but the one-to-one accuracy of these objects helped to sell the similarity of the space. Additionally, I joined and booleaned Sketchfab models to make them interactable. I used a GeoNode to model the ceiling, so the details were off, but by matching the general shape and industrial aesthetic, I was able to achieve its likeness. Finally, I made the plug socket world. I reimagined the inner workings of a plug head, using parts made to support batteries to instead support cables which run along the floor. I used the same GeoNode I used for the ceiling, mimicking the mechanical characteristics of industrial architecture. This is my room. Except, it's not actually my room. It's a 3D scan of my room. This is my room. Or at least, this was my room. For 2 weeks, while my brother was supposed to be taking up the carpet. It was strange. My room became a kind of liminal space. This came at a time of change in my life. I was moving to a new city and changing career path. I felt sad. This carpet, with its paint stains and cat hairs, had become a part of me. This is me. Except, it's not actually me. It's an AI chatbot trained on my life and memories.
Hello there.
Before my brother took up the carpet, I scanned my room. This digital copy will last long into the future. Another carpet might cover the floor, and another boy might cover that carpet in paint. By this point, my room will only exist as a reproduction. Like a layer of my identity. Like a snapshot of time in a specific place. It'll become like a narrative embedded in virtual space. A digital twin of the real world. Using the interactivity of game engines, I can embed this space with information about myself, making a representation of me, and eventually, a representation of what I once was. If you have any questions about any of the tasks, please direct them towards my digital twin. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Goodbye. Take care.
Before I go, I just want to let you know that this content is also available on my free interactive website, which you can learn about how I made here in this video. Bye.